Welcome back, everybody. These are the best films that were released in 1977. We got all the classics: drama, comedy, thriller, horror, crime, war. We have them all. Let's check out the best films of 1977. Three Women. Two roommates, physical therapists, one a vain woman and the other an awkward teenager, share an increasingly bizarre relationship. Shelley Duvall, Sissy Spacek, and Janice Rule. Three Women. Drama, mystery, and thriller. A sensitive, passionate man. Beautiful movie. Angie Dickinson, David Jansen. The marriage of a wealthy, outwardly happy couple is threatened by the husband's alcoholism. This movie is riveting, way ahead of its time, and David Jansen was superb. Airport 77, Jack Lemmon, Lee Grant, and Joseph Cotton. Art thieves hijack a 747, hit fog, and crash into the ocean, trapping them and the passengers. Disaster, action, drama, and thriller. Prime Time. Paul Ainsley and Royce Applegate. Dark comedy, parody, and satire. Some unknown source has interrupted all television transmissions around the world. Prime Time, dark comedy. The American Friend. Dennis Hopper and Bruno Ganz. Tom Ripley, who deals in forged art, suggests a picture framer he knows would make a good hitman. Crime, drama, mystery, and thriller. The American Friend. Bad. Cindy Fox and Matthew Anton. Hazel runs a beauty salon out of her house, but makes extra money by providing ruthless women to do hit jobs. Dark comedy, comedy and crime. Annie Hall. Woody Allen, Diane Keaton. Albie Singer, a divorced Jewish comedian, reflects on his relationship with ex-lover Annie Hall, an aspiring nightclub singer which ended abruptly just like his previous marriages. Ants. Robert Foxworth and Linda Day George. An old-fashioned lakeside hotel targeted for purchase by an unsavory gambling casino promoter and situated next to a construction site is attacked by an army of ants. Drama, horror, and thriller. Between the Lines. John Hurd and Lindsay Krause. The lives and tribulations of a staff at an independent newspaper in Boston who's struggling financially. Comedy, drama, and romance. Between the Lines. Bobby Deerfield. Al Pacino and Martha Keller. Bobby Deerfield, a famous American race car driver on the European circuit, falls in love with the enigmatic Lillian Morelli, who is terminally ill. Tragedy, tragic romance, and drama. Breaker Breaker. Chuck Norris and George Murdoch. Truck driver searches for his brother, who has disappeared in a town run by a corrupt judge. Action, adventure, and crime. Breaker Breaker. A Bridge Too Far. Sean Connery, Ryan O'Neal, and Michael Caine. Operation Market Garden, September 1944. The Allies attempt to capture several strategically important bridges in the Netherlands. War epic and drama. Candle Shoe. Jodie Foster, David Niven, Helen Hayes. Welcome to Candle Shoe, a stately English manor where a swashbuckling pirate hid a fortune in Spanish Dublins. Slapstick, adventure, comedy, and drama. Beach House. Catherine Deneuve and Jodie Foster. Different groups of people share cabin number 19 for changing at an Italian beach. Beach House, comedy, with the young Jodie Foster. Charleston. Bud Spencer and Herbert Lom. Con man tries to pull a fast one on what appears to be an easy prey, but his victim scams him for $5 million. Charleston. Bud Spencer. Comedy. Christmas Miracle in Caulfield, USA. Mitchell Ryan, Kurt Russell, and Melissa Gilbert, based on the true story of coal miners who became trapped underground in a cave on Christmas Eve 1951. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Richard Dreyfuss. Francois Truffaut. Rory Neary, an Indiana Electric lineman, finds his quiet and ordinary daily life turned upside down after a close encounter with a UFO. Alien invasion sci-fi. The Crater Lake Monster. Richard Cardella. A meteor that crashed into Oregon's Crater Lake unearthed a dinosaur egg. The Crater Lake Monster. Dinosaur adventure and thriller and horror. Cross Swords. Oliver Reed, Raquel Welch. Poor boy Tom Canty and Edward, Prince of Wales, exchange identities, but events forced the pair to experience each other's lives as well. Crossed Swords. Day of the Animals, Christopher George, Leslie Nielsen. A battle for survival ensues after a group of hikers encounters a chemically imbalanced forest. Horror, sci-fi, and thriller. Day of the Animals. The Domino Principle, Gene Hackman and Candice Bergen. A Vietnam War veteran who's been imprisoned for murder is offered freedom if he agrees to commit a contract killing for a shady organization. The Domino Principle. Empire of the Ants, Joan Collins and Robert Lansing. Con artist Marilyn Fraser tries to sell bogus real estate deals in an area overrun by giant ants. Adventure, horror, and sci-fi. I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, Bibi Anderson and Kathleen Quinlan. A disturbed, institutionalized 16-year-old girl struggles between fantasy and reality. Period drama, psychological drama. Final Chapter, Walking Tall, Bo Svensson, Laurel Tuttle. Buford Puser's last days as sheriff of McNairy County, Tennessee in 1970 and his subsequent death in 1974. Action, crime, and drama. Fire, Ernest Borgnine, Mira Miles. A convict starts a fire in a forest to cover his escape, but the fire goes out of control and threatens to destroy a small mountain community. Action, drama. Fire! Fire Sale, Alan Arkin, Rob Reiner, and Vincent Gardenia. Ben and Ruth Ficus are driving to Florida, but Benny needs someone to look after his store and reluctantly chooses his son, Russell. Fire Sale, comedy. For the Love of Benji. Everybody loved Benji. This is For the Love of Benji. Benji sniffs out a bogus CIA agent in Athens, Greece. Adventure, comedy, drama, and family. Look at that little face. Fun with Dick and Jane. Jane Fonda, George Segal, Ed McMahon. When a successful middle-class couple finds themselves unemployed and in debt, they turn to armed robbery in desperation. Satire, comedy, and crime. Fun with Dick and Jane. Golden Rendezvous, Richard Harris, and Turkel. On a cargo ship converted into a cruise liner, First Officer John Carter foils the plan of international hijackers. Golden Rendezvous, action, crime, and thriller. Good Against Evil, Dak Rambo, Alyssa Dabalos. A writer, Andy Stewart, teams up with the exorcist, Father Kemschler, to battle Satan. Good Against Evil, supernatural horror. The Goodbye Girl, I Love Quinn Cummings, Richard Dreyfuss, Marsha Mason, and Quinn Cummings. After being dumped by her live-in boyfriend, unemployed dancer Paula McFadden and 10-year-old daughter Lucy are forced to live with a struggling off-Broadway actor. Grand Theft Auto, Ron Howard, Nancy Morgan. A rich girl steals her dad's Rolls Royce and heads off to Las Vegas to get married. Car action, slapstick action, comedy. Grand Theft Auto will not disappoint. The Happy Hooker goes to Hollywood. The Happy Hooker goes to Washington. The world's most famous madam, Xavier Hollander, now a magazine magnate, is called to Washington to testify before Congress. Joey Heatherton and George Hamilton. Heroes, Henry Winkler and Sally Field. A Vietnam veteran suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder breaks out of a VA hospital and goes on a road trip with a sympathetic traveler. Psychological drama, comedy, and drama. Heroes. We love heroes. High Anxiety. Mel Brooks, Madeline Kahn, Cloris Leachman, and Harvey Korman. A psychiatrist with intense acrophobia, fear of heights, goes to work for a mental institution. Parody, slapstick, comedy, and mystery. Julia, Jane Fonda, Vanessa Redgrave. At the behest of an old dear friend, playwright Lillian Hellman undertakes a dangerous mission to smuggle funds into Nazi Germany. Julia, drama. The Kentucky Fried Movie. Evan Kim and Bill Bixby. The daily programming of a fictional local TV channel presented as a series of highly irreverent skits. Parody, sketch comedy, slapstick comedy. Vengeance, Lee Van Cleef, Jim Brown. Tom's parents are killed by Mexicans after their leader rapes his mother as he watched. He sets out for revenge. Spaghetti western, drama, and western. Vengeance. Kingdom of the Spiders with William Shatner. In rural Arizona, countless killer tarantulas are migrating to a farm town, killing everyone, everything in sight. Here's another poster for Kingdom of the Spiders. This one shows, obviously, William Shatner holding the flame. Which of those two posters do you like better? The first one or this one? But Kingdom of the Spiders was great when it came out. It was scary. It was a scorcher. Right? Beast with a Gun. Helmut Berger and Marissa Mell. In Italy, escaped sadistic killer Nanni Vitali and his henchmen terrorize the populace and seek revenge. Action, crime, drama, and thriller. Beast with a Gun. MacArthur. Biopic of General Douglas MacArthur covering his war exploits during World War II and the Korean War. Gregory Peck and Dan O'Herlihy. Biography, drama, history, and war. This was a great movie. Mad Bull. Alex Karras. Susan Ants. A burly professional wrestler falls in love with a caring woman who helps convince him to abandon his vengeful search for the one who murdered his brother in this drama. Action, comedy, drama, and romance. March or Die. Gene Hackman, Terence Hill. During the 1920s, French Foreign Legion Major William Foster unit is protecting an archaeological dig. Adventure, drama, romance, and war. March or Die. Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. Dean Jones, Don Knotts, Julie Summers. Herbie, the Volkswagen Beetle with a mind of its own, is racing in the Monte Carlo Rally. Action, adventure, and comedy. Mr. Billion. Terence Hill and Valerie Perrine and Jack Gleason. When an American billionaire dies, his poor Italian nephew inherits everything. Action, comedy, family, and romance. Mr. Billion. New York, New York. Put Liza Minnelli on the map in Cabaret. Robert De Niro. An egotistical saxophonist and young lounge singer meet on a BJ day and embark upon a strained and rocky romance. Drama, music, and musical. New York, New York. Oh God is phenomenal. John Denver with George Burns. When God appears to assist a grocery manager as a good-natured old man, the Almighty selects him as his messenger for the modern world. Oh God is a wonderful movie, comedy, fantasy. Opening night. Gina Rollins and John Cassavetes and Ben Gazzara. A renowned actress teeters on the edge of a breakdown as she counts down the days toward a big Broadway opening. Psychological drama and drama. Orca. This movie's awesome. Orca with Richard Harris and Charlotte Rampling. A hunter squares off against a killer whale, seeking vengeance for the death of its mate. Adventure, drama, and horror and thriller. Orca, the killer whale. The People That Time Forgot. Patrick Wayne and Doug McClure. A 1919 British expedition in the Antarctica region is searching for a lost American explorer and finds a hidden prehistoric world instead. This movie was awesome for its time. Peter Lundy and the Medicine Hat Stallion. Leif Garrett. A teenage boy gets a job as a Pony Express rider in Nebraska Territory not long before the Civil War breaks out. Drama and Western. Pete's Dragon. Walt Disney. Adventure animation comedy. Helen Reddy and Jim Dale. An orphan boy and his magical dragon come to town with his abusive adoptive parents in pursuit. Pete's Dragon. Polk County Pot Plain. Featuring Don Watson. A criminal gang busts two of their incarcerated colleagues out of jail in order for them to take on a high-profile drug smuggling operation. Action and crime. Who are the DeBolts, and where did they get 19 kids? This was narrated by Henry Winkler. Dorothy and Bob DeBolt's tale of the struggles and joys involved in their 19 adopted children, many who were physically disabled war orphans. This movie was made for TV. It was very good. The Guy from Harlem. Action. A private detective operating in Miami is hired to protect the wife of an African head of state in town for diplomatic business. A Guy from Harlem. Action. Warhead. Action, adventure, and war. Palestinian guerrillas, Israeli commandos, and an American colonel fight to keep a nuclear warhead mistakenly dropped in the Jordanian desert by U.S. air. Roller Coaster. George Segal and Timothy Bottoms. A nameless young terrorist threatens to sabotage roller coasters at various American amusement parks. Psychological thriller, action, and crime. Roller Coaster was a scorcher. One of the best movies of all time, Saturday Night Fever. John Travolta, Karen Lynn Gorney. Anxious about his future after high school, 19-year-old Italian-American from Brooklyn tries to escape the harsh reality and becomes a disco sensation. Drama and musical. Semi-Tough. Burt Reynolds and Chris Christopherson, Jill Clayburgh. A three-way friendship between two free-spirited professional football players and the owner's daughter becomes a compromise when two of them become romantically involved. The Sentinel. Christina Rains, a young woman, moves into an apartment building which houses a sinister evil. Supernatural horror and horror. The Sentinel. September 30th, 1955. Richard Thomas and Susan Tyrrell. When Jimmy's idol James Dean dies on September 30th, 1955, the small town of Arkansas College undergraduate goes berserk. So this is a tribute to Jimmy Dean. Shockwaves. Visitors to a remote island discover that a reclusive Nazi commandant has been breeding a group of zombie soldiers. Featuring Peter Cushing. Zombie horror. Slapshot. Paul Newman and Michael Ontikin. A failing ice hockey team finds success with an outrageously violent hockey goonery. Dark comedy, satire, comedy, and drama. Slapshot was very good. Smokey and the Bandit. Burt Reynolds, Sally Field, Jerry Reed. The Bandit is hired on to run a tractor trailer full of beer over state lines. Car action road trip action adventure. Snow Beast. Bo Svensson and Yvette Mimieux. A Colorado ski resort is besieged by a subhuman beast that commits brutal murders on the slopes. Snow Beast, made for TV. Sorcerer, with Roy Scheider and Bruno Kremer. Four unfortunate men from different parts of the globe agree to risk their lives transporting gallons of nitroglycerin. Sorcerer. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, the very first Star Wars. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. Luke Skywalker joins forces with a Jedi Knight, a cocky pilot, and a Wookiee. Action epic adventure dessert stunts. Robert Forster and Fiona Lewis. After a stuntman dies while he is involved in the making of a motion picture, his brother takes his place in order to find out what really happened. Stunts, drama, mystery. Summer City. John Jarrett. The exploits of four boys who leave Sydney and head out for a weekend of surfing and adventure. Unfortunately, the fun takes a serious turn when they find themselves involved in a murder. Summer City with Mel Gibson. Supervan. A man named Clint enters a solar-powered van called Vandora into a competition called Freakout. Action comedy. Look at that. Solar-powered vans back in 1977. Who would have thought? Suspiria. Psychological horror. An academy newcomer to a prestigious German ballet academy comes to realize that the school is a front for something sinister. Suspiria. Psychological horror, slasher horror. Tarantulas, the Deadly Cargo. Claude Akins and Charles Frank. An airplane carrying coffee beans from South America hitches a ride with a couple of tarantulas and spread deadly diseases all over the world. Tentacles. John Huston and Shelley Winters. A mutated giant octopus wreaks havoc on a California seaside community. Dark comedy, monster horror. Tentacles with Shelley Winters will not disappoint. The American Friend. Dennis Hopper and Bruno Ganz. Tom Ripley, who deals in forged art, suggests a picture framer he knows would make a good hitman. Now, the last time we covered this, it was a foreign poster. I believe a German poster. The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training. William Devane and Jackie Earl Haley. A troubled, rebellious teen drives his rambunctious baseball team out to Houston where they plan an exhibition game. The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training was awesome. The $1 Billion Hobo. Tim Conway. Vernon praiseworthy and a clumsy but lovable dope who stands to inherit his uncle's fortune. Comedy and family. The $1 Billion Hobo. This movie is very funny. The Death of Richie. Ben Gazzara, Eileen Brennan, and Robbie Benson. A sensitive but confused teenager feels pressure on him from all directions and turns to drugs. The Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore and Barbara Bach. James Bond investigates the hijacking of British and Russian submarines carrying nuclear warheads. The Spy Who Loved Me. The World's Greatest Lover, Gene Wilder and Carol Kane and Dom DeLuise. A neurotic baker travels to Hollywood to attend a talent search for an actor to rival the great Valentino. The World's Greatest Lover, comedy. The Choir Boys. A group of Los Angeles cops decide to take off some of the pressures of their jobs by engaging in various forms of after-hours debauchery. Charles Durning and Louis Gossett Jr., Perry King, The Choir Boys. The Disappearance. Donald Sutherland, Francois Rosset, and John Hurt. Contract killer Jay Mallory's wife, Calandine, has disappeared from their apartment. The Gathering. Ed Asner, Maureen Stapleton. A dying father pulls his family back together for a last Christmas. Drama. The Gathering. This movie is beautiful and touching. The Gauntlet. This movie is a powerhouse. Clint Eastwood, Sandra Locke, and Pat Hingle. A hard but mediocre cop is assigned to escort a prostitute into custody from Las Vegas to Phoenix. But what happens? Stay tuned. The Private Files of J. Edgar Hoover with Broderick Crawford. The story of the late J. Edgar Hoover, who was head of the FBI from 1924 to 1972. Biography drama. The Private Files of J. Edgar Hoover. The Turning Point. Anne Bancroft, Shirley MacLaine. When her daughter joins a ballet company, a former dancer is forced to confront her long-ago decision to give up the stage to have a family. The Turning Point. Drama and romance. The Van. Bobby blows off all his college savings on a van and tries to get the girl of his dreams. It's a wild time with Bobby and his friends. Stuart Getz. The Van. Great comedy. Total 70s. The Greatest. Muhammad Ali plays himself in a reconstruction of the events that brought him to fame. Biography, drama, and sport with Muhammad Ali and Ernest Borgnine. Next up we have is Thieves. Drama of a native New York married couple who splits up in an attempt to rediscover their sanity. Marlo Thomas, Charles Grodin, and Erwin Corey. Comedy, drama, and romance. Thieves. The Paul Lynde Halloween Special. Witchy Pooh and the Wicked Witch of the West give Paul Lynde 3 wishes for Halloween. Kiss performs 3 songs. The Paul Lynde Halloween Show with Paul Lynde and Tim Conway. Un Borghese Piccolo Piccolo. A meek, middle-aged man finally takes justice into his own hands. Dark comedy, crime, and drama with Alberto Sordi. This is a great movie. Check it out. Warhead with David Jansen and Karina Dorr. Palestinian guerrillas, Israeli commandos, and an American colonel fight to keep a nuclear warhead mistakenly dropped into the Jordanian desert by a U.S. Air Force nuclear bomber. Warhead. Why Shoot the Teacher? Bud Cort. In 1930s, Max Brown is an urban young man from an eastern province fresh from college whose only job is to offer a one-on-one schoolhouse in the Canadian prairie. Comedy drama. 0 to 60, Darren McGavin and Sylvia Miles. A divorced man hooks up with a street-smart 16-year-old woman who makes her living by repossessing cars from their owners. 0 to 60. Those were the best films of 1977. What were your favorite films of that year? Let me know if there's any films from 1977 that I may have missed and that I didn't put in this list. Again, these lists are not all-inclusive, but pretty much I cover all the best popular movies that came out of each year and every decade. So my favorite movies of 1977 had to be Orca. I loved Orca, the killer whale. The Land That I Forgot. I've never seen those in the theater. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I also saw that in the theater. And those movies were great. A lot of other good movies in this list. But what were your favorite movies of that year? Alright, I'm Tony. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.